What's the scariest space fact mystery in your opinion? A few people have said this, but just the size of space is creepy to me. That far away. But what almost depresses me more that unlike in Stargate I will never be able to travel to any of it. Would love to see what's out there. Not scary exactly. More unfortunate. If anything. But we'll probably never be able to properly communicate with alien species. Given the amount of distance between the planets of our solar system. I'd assume the distance to other universes and galaxies is too far to think about right now. If we receive and send a message right now, by the time we hear a reply back, it would probably be a completely different government and societal system. We would just be constantly introducing ourselves. Here's one closer to home. The Kessler effect is the theory that a single destructive event in low Earth orbit could create a cascade where satellites break up into tiny fragments, taking out other satellites, breaking up into smaller fragments, and so on. Until the Earth is completely surrounded by a massive cloud of tiny flying death shrapnel, which would make leaving this planet almost impossible. If you look up how much space debris there is already up there and how many satellites currently orbit, plus the continued growth of the commercial space industry, I think about it a lot. Moons haunted. Mobile. Black holes. Ever gone on a road trip and hit a patch where you're just driving for hours and you don't see anything exciting? I've experienced this in Australia, Canada and USA. All very large countries. Imagine doing that for years traveling to another planet. On the surface of Mars right now is a blur CD. God help us if aliens find that first. Gamma ray bursts. We could be hit by one of these with very little warning. And if it was reasonably close, in universal terms anyway, could wipe us out rapidly or cause a ton of damage. Dark matter, dark energy. The fact that about 95% of the universe is made up of matter we can't see or detect is pretty unsettling to think about. Also, while not a fact per se, I like to think that perhaps the answer to the Fermi paradox is that there are billions of advanced alien life forms out there, but they are physically unable to reach us due to technological limitations. Perhaps interstellar transport is only theoretical, and any aliens capable of reaching us are unable to do so in an acceptable length of time. Proxima Centauri may take 25 years for unmanned spacecraft to reach us, going 20% the speed of light. But perhaps it's impossible to transport actual life at these speeds without dying. So advanced civilizations have realized the futility of trying to contact other species and have simply given up. Rogue planets. Planets that do not follow any given orbit. They may have been in an orbit at one time, but now they refuse to play by the rules. They were most likely knocked out of their orbit by another body, and now they are set on doing the same. I can't accept the fact that there is no end in space. But if there is indeed an end, then what's beyond it? I'm stuck in absurdity. Edit. In the numerous answers I've received, the one that seems to come back the most is the universe is curved. You would end up back where you started. Seems fair enough. Then again, that wouldn't mean there is no limit. On the contrary, that would just mean we are trapped in, or on the surface of, a sphere. But there is still a limit to this sphere. So the question remains, what's beyond it? At the end, there is either infinity or nothingness. And what the hell is my little brain supposed to do with that? The Boots Void. An area of space where there should be 50,000 or so galaxies, compared to other areas of the same size, but there's only about 60. Could just be empty space for some unknown reason. Or it could be an ever-expanding intergalactic empire using Dyson spheres. Also, I think it appears to be growing, but that could just be galaxies moving away from the void. Edit. If the Milky Way had been in the center of the Boots Void, we wouldn't have known there were other galaxies until the 1960s. Greg Aldering, astronomer. The sheer distance between things. It's scary and somewhat depressing. I think everything is terrifying about space, and I love it. But one thing it scares me a lot. It's if space is infinite. Since the universe is expanding and stars and galaxies are moving away from each other, it's possible that civilizations that spring up in the far future with lonely stars will see an empty sky. Their civilizations will grow and learn, but they will never know the universe that once was. We live in a spectacular time period where we can actually look back in time and see the early universe. Future civilizations won't have that luxury. They'll believe that the universe is, and always was, dark, dead, and empty, aside from their small island of light. With that in mind, you have to wonder what stellar phenomena may have populated the universe billions of years ago but are now too far away for us to ever detect. There is literally no end to the universe. No matter how long we study it, there will always be stuff that we will never know just because of the vastness of space. There could also be multiple universes, which is unbelievable considering that we know so little about our own. The fact that a city-killing asteroid can slip through our detection systems and kill millions at any moment. The time-gravity relationship. It freaks me out. Oh boy. You have no idea just how crazy that can get. Namely, in black holes. Theoretically, if you were to enter a black hole with a large enough volume, you could actually pass through the event horizon without being crushed. The insane thing about this is what you would experience. As you're going further into the black hole, it would bend around you, and the universe would appear to be a bright bluish sphere behind you, getting smaller as the light waves get more and more compressed. Blue shifting the light. Now here's the crazy part. At the singularity of the black hole, the gravity is so intense that time is at a standstill. Now, theoretically, at this point, you could look behind you at the universe as hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years pass in seconds. If it's strong enough, you could even look behind you as trillions of years pass and the entire universe dies right before your eyes. That's pretty insane. What was before the Big Bang? I think it is just impossible for a human to comprehend pure nothing or infinity. I myself had a stroke at age 9 due to a ruptured vertebral artery and lost a third of my visual field. I can confirm that it is not black, good and logy as it is like what you see behind your head. On the other hand, infinity is so large that if you spent your whole life writing a 1 then zeros on paper, that insane number would still be 0% of infinity. I just think there is no way to fully understand the universe and there never will be. This is why even ancient societies explained things with gods, because they didn't understand how the reality we live in started, and I don't think we ever will. Since time began at the Big Bang, the term before is meaningless. But before that, the Great Attractor is kinda ominous. There's an exoplanet with wind that many times the speed of sound and that rains glass. Other exoplanets that have spent time inside its star. There's a sort of fear that we aren't alone in the universe. Chances are anything we meet won't have remotely similar emotional spectrums that we have. Then there's the horrifying notion that we are alone in that infinite blackness. That we're just a fluke of chemistry that will probably never happen again. Edit. More people have died on Earth than have died on the sun. Spook. The fact that an asteroid could come at any time. And even though we have the technology to tell us that an asteroid is about to impact Earth, what can we really do about it? Nothing. We can do nothing. We can just sit here, with the media stations telling us what will happen, telling our friends and loved ones goodbye, praying, etc. It sucks. Why do we have the technology that tells us our inevitable doom is days, or even moments away, but no technology to possibly stop it? Edit. Words. I mean, I feel like we'd figure something out real quick if we had at least a week. Yeah, it could end up just being throw a bunch of rockets at it until all the impacts change its course. But that's still worth a try. There could be life, but not in the way we think. Like a virus that our immune system simply can't take and we can't cure or make a vaccine for. This was actually thought of before. When the crew from Apollo 11 came back from the moon, They were quarantined for 3 weeks just in case they did have some kind of space virus. It's bigger than anyone could ever hope to comprehend. Heat death. That one keeps me up at night. Take your socks off. There is a section of ocean where the closest help at any time is 250-ish miles straight up. That the Milky Way galaxy has an estimated 10 million black holes. The coldest place in the universe is not the Boomerang Nebula. Or even in space. No. It's the inside of a D-wave quantum computer. At 15 MK. Coldness in space is so funky cause there's a limit. Like we know how cold the coldest thing can be. There's nothing in all of existence colder than absolute zero. Nothing. A fact from a show I used to like. The main problem is pressure. There isn't any. So, don't hold your breath or your lungs will explode. Blood vessels rupture. Exposed areas swell. Fun fact. The boiling temperature of water is much lower in a vacuum. Which means that your sweat and your saliva will boil. As will the fluid around your eyes. You won't notice any of this because 15 seconds in, you've passed out as oxygen bubbles formed in your blood. And 90 seconds in, you're dead. Edit. It's Doctor Who. There is no guarantee that the universe won't end in the next 10 seconds. Edit. There are people who are confused. I'm just saying that with the uncertainty of it all. It could be possible. Not saying it will. It could. Unlikely. But it isn't impossible. Edit. Thank you so much. You.I 207 for the silver. I really appreciate it. I had kind of a horrible start to my day. And the fact that someone appreciates something that I didn't like that much turned my day around. Update. It didn't. Humans exist within a time frame of Earth's life where the moon is just at the right distance that we have solar and lunar eclipses the way we do now. The coincidence is just a little too uncanny for my tastes. But it also shows how things can just majestically turn out the way they do out of pure chance. Getting sucked into a black hole literally turns you into spaghetti. Time will also be a thing of the past. The fact that when you look at the sun you see it as it was 8 minutes ago. Strange matter. It might not exist at all. But some scientists believe it's what's inside neutron stars. If this is true, neutron stars can collide and send strange matter particles flying through space. It's also theorized that strange matter might turn everything it touches into strange matter. If that's true, any microscopic amount of strange matter that touches our atmosphere would quickly turn Earth and everything on it into strange matter, destroying all life and nearly every remnant of civilization. And there wouldn't be a damn thing we could do about it. Again, this is all theoretical. Strange matter might not have such a massive effect. And indeed it might not exist at all. But there is a non-zero chance that an undetectable, microscopic particle is flying toward Earth ready to eradicate everyone and everything. There's a region of space where the ever-present cosmic radiation from the Big Bang is missing. The radiation is everywhere as space except this area there's none. The Boltzmann brain. The most likely ending to our universe will be all stars and black holes exploding and eventually the universe becomes a completely even soup of neutrons for all eternity. In this theory, the Big Bang was actually a cosmic coincidence, in which enough of those neutrons, literally every neutron that currently exists, collided in the even soup of a past universe. This collision caused the Big Bang to occur, thrusting into motion the energies that run our current universe. Such an occurrence in the soup of infinite neutrons is incredibly unlikely. What instead is far more likely is that just enough neutrons came together in the exact right way as to create a literal floating brain in the infinite soup that has all of your memories and experiences up to the current moment. Statistically speaking, it is unfathomably more likely that nothing you've ever perceived exists and instead you are merely a floating brain in an endless expanse of nothing, doomed to return to the soup from whence you came. None the wiser. Why am I reading this thread? Nothing is forever, not me, not the earth, not the sun, not our galaxy, and not the universe. One time there will be nothing and no one. That thought makes me feel useless and scared, but it calms me down when I'm stressed. Space is composed entirely of cheese whiz, but they won't admit it. They paint the sky black at night to keep us all fooled. There's a exoplanet where it is so hot that it rains iron. There was a star 20,000 light years away that put out a burst of energy in 2/5 of a second that was more energy than our own sun produces in 100,000 years. It was enough to disrupt satellite and GPS signals. If that star was only half the distance away at 10,000 light years, it would have stripped the Earth of its atmosphere and irradiated the Earth enough to destroy all life. Thank you Jaff for reigniting my interest for space. You know those classic utopian sci-fi stories where benevolent aliens come down and end all the wars and uplift them to super intellects and give everyone miraculous technology and immortality and welcome them into a peaceful galactic union and everything. Ever wonder why? If aliens are roaming around faster than light, they haven't swung by us yet? One of the answers to that question: we might be the first. Depending on how long it takes life to develop, we might be the first to evolve to a point where we could plausibly make that happen without nuking ourselves into oblivion or destroying our atmosphere or what have you. It might be up to us whether we make it or not as an interstellar species. We have the responsibility of getting our together, because it may well be up to us to save everyone else. Uncountable genocides, wars, famines, death on a scale larger than our species have ever understood. Literally the fate of the universe might depend on us. I look around at us now, and that's what scares me. Someday, all the hydrogen will burn out, trillions of years in the future, and there will be no activity or energy, and everything will be so far apart that it will just be a cold dark wasteland with no life or light. Scary space fact: if you were to lose your keys in space, it would be almost impossible to find them. The sun might have an evil twin named Nemesis. This stands as a theory, since astronomers have been searching for Nemesis since the 80s. Nemesis has been catapulting asteroids onto Earth's course every 26 million years or so, meaning Nemesis is to blame for killing the dinosaurs. Some believe that the light coming from Nemesis is actually infrared, explaining why nobody on Earth could never find it. Since infrared light is invisible to the human eye, there is reason to believe that yes, Nemesis did exist and is the sun's twin. But it has traveled out of orbit and now resides in the Milky Way galaxy. It could all be a simulation. Aliens 65 million light years away could theoretically see the dinosaurs on Earth with a microscope advanced enough telescope that the Earth is way overdue for a civilizational life-ending event. Meteors and asteroids didn't just stop hitting Earth. Will it happen in my lifetime, my kids' or my grandkids' lifetimes, or 1,000 years from now? Humans have only been here for a minute amount of time over the course of Earth's complete history, and many things have happened to completely wipe out almost all life as we know it. The concept of time just messes with me too much. We perceive that everything has a beginning, but there was no beginning for time. It just is. One day we decided to start counting, but there was no beginning, because how can there be the beginning of time? If you say there is a beginning, what was there before? There has to be something. The smallest black hole is 1,616,255, 18, U-grave 10 or 35 m big, and they are technically everywhere in space. Worst yet, the space itself is an emergent phenomena generated by all the mass that you can't measure because it's in a black hole. Dark matter my ass. The thing about space is, there's no air out there. Lots of radiation, gravity wells, or lack thereof. Space is even more hostile than any environment on Earth. So, of course, people want to challenge themselves and explore. But it's incredibly expensive. And people aren't united in seeking space travel or habitats. And there are so many other ways to spend resources that would improve life for people on Earth. Bottom line. Space is there. Multiple world theory. Imar gets stoned and read every comment. False vacuum. Summed up. The universe can at any point cease to exist. We wouldn't witness even a trillionth of a second of the event. It would just happen. The notion that if there is other intelligent life in the universe, it might be in their best interest to annihilate any life they find. And ours. Even if we haven't realized it yet. There is a certain spot in a black hole where if you got stuck in, your body would literally split in half and come back together again. And keep doing it. Wouldn't you just die the first time it splits in half? I'm not sure I have it exactly right. But here goes. The observable universe has been expanding away from us at the speed of light. So even if we invented a light speed craft, we couldn't escape the space we have already seen. Life hasn't been detected by contacted as yet. There should be millions of intelligent civilizations in our galaxy alone. It's not likely to be a distance issue. It's either that life is incredibly rare, in which case we're royally messing up one of the few wonders of the universe, or most intelligent life kills itself off or is killed by an indifferent universe with alarming regularity. The mere concept of a black hole spooks me out. An infinitely small object with a gravitational presence larger than some stars. That alters space and time and simply erases anything that gets too close. The gravitational lensing of the light from stars behind seems supernatural when you see it. But even worse. If you start getting sucked into a black hole, the further you get sucked in, the redder you would look and the slower you would get. So if you were looking at someone while you were getting sucked into a black hole, we will probably never find another Earth-like planet. And if we did, we probably could never get to it. You mean as in life-wise? Because we've already discovered Earth-like planets that could potentially host life if we ever make the tech to get there, which is the unlikely part. If you were to instantly take off your spacesuit while floating in space, the side of your body facing the sun would cook while the other would freeze. Everything in just under a couple of seconds. At least your middle would feel quite lovely. Just spin really fast to offset. Since the universe is expanding, the night sky astronomers saw centuries ago is not the same, meaning some information could have been lost. Likewise, much further in the future people would not see the same sky we can see now. The dark forest solution to the Fermi paradox. The universe is a dark forest. Every civilization is an armed hunter stalking through the trees like a ghost, gently pushing aside branches that block the path and trying to tread without sound. Even breathing is done with care. The hunter has to be careful, because everywhere in the forest are stealthy hunters like him. If he finds other life, so another hunter, an angel or a demon, a delicate infant or a tottering old man, a fairy or a demigod, so there's only one thing he can do. Open fire and eliminate them. In this forest, hell is other people. An eternal threat that any life that exposes its own existence will be swiftly wiped out. This is the picture of cosmic civilization. It's the explanation for the Fermi paradox. A cute an excerpt from Liu's novel. Your chances of dying to a penguin are low but never zero. Is the Milky Way 2% whole? Skim? There are four main forces that govern pretty much everything in the universe. The string nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, electromagnetism, and gravity. Of these, gravity is by far, like, several orders of magnitude, the weakest of the four. On a scale of 1-10, gravity would be around 0.001. I'm fuzzy on the actual math, but it's basically a kitten versus 3 adult tigers. Now, go outside at night and look into the sky. You're not looking up. Not really. You're looking into infinity through a super thin skin around a rock. All of those stars you see are gigantic furnaces of electromagnetic and nuclear power. And the only thing keeping you from falling off this spinning ball of dirt and into that infinity forever is full stop. Full stop. Gravity. Arthur C. Clarke. So two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. That a black hole could just appear and eat us at any time without us even noticing. Either we are alone in the universe, or we aren't. Both are equally terrifying. How far along? These comments are not helping my disturbed sleep pattern or general anxiety feelings. Yet I'm still here at nearly 12 AM. That 1 hour here equals 7 years on Earth. I would say the great filter. The fact that if we find other species that are at our technological level, it means that humanity is doomed to die. And we'll have to live knowing that our death is coming. The fact that we are so insanely small and vulnerable and that literally any time we can get killed. Are we even real? Pale blue dot. An image of Earth taken by the Voyager 1 space probe from a distance of 6 billion kilometers. Seeing the whole world on Earth as unimportant in comparison to the ghastly vastness of the universe is scary. On the other hand, it is the most exciting thing about it. Gives a whole new perspective on life. We don't know much about what's happening. Why should we? Check out Carl Sagan's pale blue dot speech. The universe is expanding quicker than light speed, so galaxies at the edge of our current visible universe will disappear. Astronomer here. This isn't quite true. All galaxies not bound to ours are indeed no longer going to be visible in the far future. However, the stars in the galaxy are gravitationally bound, and that is stronger than dark energy. So we would have stars in the sky. That said, eventually all the stars will burn out because you run out of hydrogen. So there is that.